qui sont les filles et puis les femmes. Est-ce qu'au sortir d'ici, nous pensons que nous pouvons vraiment travailler pour que ces personnes soient les véritables bénéficiaires, mais pas seulement eux, c'est-à-dire que toute la famille puisse être bénéficiaire de l'éducation d'une fille. Et puis, bien sûr, le Call for Action va porter sur le suivi et la mise en œuvre de ce Call for Action. Je terminerai ma présentation par quelques annonces pratiques qui vont nous aider à mieux suivre notre réunion, à mieux vivre notre séjour ici. C'est au niveau du paiement du per diem. Tous les participants qui ont été pris en charge par l'Union africaine CIEFFA, vous avez sûrement reçu un travel claim que vous devrez remplir et également soumettre ce qu'on appelle les boarding pass, c'est-à-dire vos différentes cartes d'embarquement que vous allez soumettre en remplissant le boarding pass et le remettre à ma collègue Mariama. Je ne sais pas, je pense qu'elle est sortie. C'est la dame qui est juste assise là. Vous lui remettrez pour qu'elle puisse payer vos per diem. Et les per diem serviront à payer votre chambre d'hôtel dont le petit déjeuner est compris, serviront également à payer vos dîners et puis le déjeuner pour les jours où il n'y aura pas de réunion. Parce que le déjeuner est prévu ici, est offert le 10, le 11 et le 12. À part le 10, 11, 12, tout ce que vous aurez à consommer comme déjeuner ou dîner sera couvert par votre per diem. Donc l'hôtel est informé qu'aujourd'hui, au plus tard, vous pourrez régler votre note d'hôtel parce que vous allez recevoir votre DSC. Et également la logistique. La logistique, je pense qu'on a Internet dans la salle, la connexion hier, et également il y aura la pause café qui sera servie tous les jours. Le déjeuner, c'est juste à côté, au niveau de la mer, la grande salle où vous avez pris votre petit déjeuner. Je pense que c'est là-bas qu'on aura le déjeuner. S'il y a d'autres questions en ce qui concerne la logistique, ma collègue Félicité, je ne sais pas si elle est dans la salle, pas mal de personnes connaissent Félicité, vous pouvez vous référer à Félicité. Et Mariama est rentrée dans la salle, c'est elle qui s'occupe des DSC pour les participants qui ont été sponsorisés par l'UIACIFA. Merci, Madame la modératrice.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Ms. Simone Yankee Ouattara. That was setting everything in context for us, ladies and gentlemen. Now we have a very good and firm idea of what it is that we've committed ourselves to over the next 3 days. Our next part is, I would like to call upon Ms. Sissel Itland, a councillor from Norway. We've heard that Norway is one of our very great supporters, on talking to us on the topic, why invest in girls and women's education in Africa? Here.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sissel Idland, and I'm working as a counselor for education in the Norwegian Embassy in Addis Ababa. And as you know, being in Addis Ababa, we are also the embassy to the African Union. It is a great honor to stand before you today at this important gathering, which marks our joint effort to promote and improve girls' education in Africa. Norway considers education to be a key to development. I'm therefore strongly encouraged by the AU's emphasis on education and the tremendous potential young Africans, and in particular young women and girls, represent. Why invest in girls' education and young women's education in Africa? Because we cannot afford not to do so. First of all, education is the main tool for girls and young women to improve their lives, to get decent jobs, to provide for the future, and to follow their dreams. Education is the main tool for a young woman to be economically independent, to stand on her own 2 feet, and to be able to take her own decisions and participate in public life. Secondly, Investing in girls' and young women's education is not only a tremendous benefit for the individual, the whole society benefits from the added values and resource allocation the female labor force in a country represented when activated. In 2013, an IMF report concluded, women make up a little over half of the world's population, but their contribution to measured economic activity, growth, and well-being is far below its potential, with serious macroeconomic consequences. The challenges of growth, job creation, and inclusion are closely intertwined. While growth and stability are necessary to give women the opportunities they deserve, women's participation by themselves in the labor market is promoting a good development and is a condition for the same growth and stable country. In particular, higher female labor force participation boosts growth. Better opportunities for women contributes to broader economic development in developing economies. And I would dare to say it's also the same, of course, for all countries. When my country were poor until the mid-70s, we found oil, and of course the economy was boosted. What was very much under-communicated at that time was that at the same time, women in Norway started to pick up jobs outside their home and thus contributed to the gross national budget with more than the oil. But of course, the oil was the main thing for, should we say, men in power. So, we have to emphasize all aspects of girls' education. Societies cannot prosper without participation of the female half of the population. And the AU has a key role in helping girls finish both elementary and secondary school and choose for further education. Sorry. The African Union declared 2016 as the African Year of Human Rights with particular focus on the rights of women, and followed up in 2017 as the year for harnessing the demographic dividend through investments in youth. Education spans both of these fundamental themes, being both a basic human right and a key to investing in youth. We also strongly commend the decision made during the last summit to declare the decade 2018-2017 for African Decade for Technical, Professional and Entrepreneurial Training and Youth Employment. That is important. Education is also first in Norway's development policy, led by our Prime Minister, Erna Solberg, including priority to girls' education, inclusion of marginalized groups, quality in learning, vocational training, education in emergencies and crises. Together with the Department of Human Resources, Science and Technology in the AU, led by Dr. Martial de Polikonga, and in partnership with CIEFFA, AU's International Center for Girls and Women's Education in Africa, we strongly support the strategic plan promoting retention of girls in school. The good news is that gender parity upon school enrollment is very high in most African countries. The bad news is that girls tend to drop out much earlier than boys do. And we know that the reasons are plenty. Teen pregnancies, early marriage, and perhaps also parents who do not understand the value of schooling and do not trust that the school take well care of their children in an environment which is safe so that they can leave their children out of home. And for good reasons they are fearing violence and sexual harassment, which has to come to an end. Ladies and gentlemen, above all is the reason poverty. We appreciate the AU's role in mobilizing human capital and ensuring that future economic developments are inclusive and not only benefits the few. Over the last decade, Africa has shown great willingness to combat poverty and improve institutions and infrastructure as education. Several countries have an impressive annual growth, placing them within the reach to become middle-income countries in a decade or two. Domestic resource mobilization is key to quality education opportunities for all, and one main reason for strong progress in school enrollment since 2000 is a long and sustained period of economic growth in many developing countries. Furthermore, the AU has taken measures and developed the Continental Education Strategy for Africa. Its mission is nothing less than reorienting Africa's education and training systems to promote sustainable development at the national, sub-regional, and continental levels. A very good tool. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa's population is expected to double by 2015. This democratic development represents an opportunity, but it also huge challenges. There is an acute need for job creation and for developing human capital and capacity. The economic development in many African countries carries an immense potential, ensuring continued and transformative growth, prosperity, and stability. In that regard, I'm sure we have all understood the power of women economics. With the clear vision of Agenda 2063 in mind, societies lose out in so many ways if women are not empowered and fully included in economic development. As investors, as leaders, or as employees, it is a waste of talent and opportunity and calls for a massive scaling up of efforts to improve the access and quality of learning, with a particular emphasis on girls and young women. As the AU is taking the lead on women's empowerment through education, I can assure you that Norway is wholeheartedly behind it. And ladies and gentlemen, access to education is a human right. Sorry. Millions of children, either internally displaced or facing the uncertainty reality of life as a refugee, have left school. Many will never return. Few things are more essential for a child or a young person in times of conflict and uncertainty than to feel safe at school and on the way to their learning place. But in countries affected by war, going to school may be one of the most dangerous things a child can do. Schools and universities have increasingly become targets of violent attacks. That is why Norway is promoting the Safe School Declaration as a part of a broader emphasis on education for development, including education in emergencies and protracted crises, which is also very important within the African Union setting. I'm happy to see from the Safe School Declaration was launched in May 2015 at an international conference in Oslo. So far, almost 20 African countries have endorsed the declaration, and Norway will work this autumn in Addis Ababa and also together with contacts in the EU to promote for more African countries to endorse the Safe Schools Declaration. Ladies and gentlemen, a well-functioning, inclusive, and efficient educational sector is a precondition for gender equality, development, and the eradication of poverty. That is why the Norwegian government will continue to place emphasis on education, with special attention on girls' education. Norway particularly supports the efforts in partner countries in specifically reaching the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, ensure inclusive and quality education for all, and promote lifelong learning. There is a job to be done. Thank you very much, and have a good seminar.
Thank you very much, Ms. Itland. Ladies and gentlemen, it's clear there is a job to be done, whether we are leaders, investors, development partners, in the various roles and capacities which we are fulfilling. There is a definite commitment from all of us to ensure that investment is made into girls and young women. There will be no questions at this stage. We will, because of time, and I also want to thank sincerely the two speakers for doing an excellent job on time, keeping time, because time is of the essence, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful, wonderful program over the next 3 days, and we want to really have full participation, but also the honoring of being punctual and being on time and respectfully engaging with each other. May I now request you to kindly introduce yourself, just the name that you wish to be known for during this period. Not the 3 names that's on the birth certificate. So just to introduce yourself kindly, your country and or your institution. Shall we start with the table on our far right?
Hello, I'm Vrishni from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the Republic of Mauritius.
Thank you. Elizabeth Gassasa from Ethiopia. I work in the Ministry of Education Gender Directorate. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome everybody. I am Aslam from Ministry of Education in Mauritius.
Bonjour, je suis donc Dr Fahmi. Je suis conseiller principal du ministre de l'Enseignement supérieur et de la Recherche de la République de Djibouti. Merci.
Bonjour, je suis Anne-Marie Ekra, à Michia, ingénieure aviation civile, et je dirige le bureau pour les enquêtes sur les accidents d'aviation civile en Côte d'Ivoire.
Can we proceed to the next table, please?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kiran, and I'm from the Ministry of Education of the Republic of Mauritius.
Moi, c'est Madame Bakayoko de la Côte d'Ivoire. Je suis inspecteur général et conseiller technique de Madame le ministre de l'Éducation nationale, enseignement technique et de la formation professionnelle. Et je m'occupe en même temps de l'aspect genre du ministère. Merci.
Bonjour, Nadège Ngombe Kabamba, je suis professeur d'université. Je représente le ministère de l'Enseignement supérieur et universitaire de la République démocratique du Congo. Merci.
Bonjour, moi c'est Lynn Livoris Nelou, la directrice adjointe de la promotion de l'éducation des filles au Tchad, ministère de l'Éducation nationale et de la promotion civique. Merci.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Dirce Melo. Je suis d'ici au temps que représentant du ministère de l'Éducation du Cap-Vert. Et ma langue officielle, c'est le portugais. Mais je parle un peu de français. Je suis diplômée en sciences de l'éducation par l'Université de Coimbra, Portugal. À l'heure actuelle, je travaille au sein de la Direction nationale de l'éducation et j'occupe le poste de technique supérieure. Et je suis point focal de Angers. Merci.
Bonjour, c'est Bourikoki Hermenegilde du Burundi. Je suis inspecteur général de l'enseignement.
Good morning, I'm Daya from the University of Mauritius, Associate Professor in Food Science and Technology.
Je suis Dr Song Yahali, chercheur enseignant dans les universités au Burkina Faso, directeur du cabinet du ministre de l'Enseignement supérieur, de la Recherche scientifique et de l'Innovation.
Good morning, everybody. I am Balgobin from the Rajiv Gandhi Center, Republic of Mauritius. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Doreen Muji from Botswana as Head of Department for Hospitality and Tourism at the Francistown College of Technical and Vocational Education under the Ministry of Tertiary Education, Research, Science and Technology. Thank you so much.
Bonjour, je suis Madame Aloyon Roissou Elisabeth Akwabi. Je suis professeure d'université. Je suis la directrice adjointe de l'École normale supérieure de l'enseignement technique au Bénin. Au Bénin, bien sûr. Merci.
Bonjour. Vous m'avez vu? C'est moi là. Ok. Bon. Bonjour, c'est Raymond Agossou. Je suis du Bénin, mais je travaille avec le CIEFFA. Je suis consultante auprès du CIEFFA et je suis diplômée en sciences de l'éducation. Merci.
Bonjour, moi c'est Félicité Mantar Kounangé. Je travaille également avec le CIEFFA au Burkina Faso.
Bonjour, moi c'est Saint-Poré Ratoniemba François. Je travaille au CIEFFA au Burkina Faso et je suis burkinabé. Merci.
Bonjour, moi c'est Issa Namata, diplômé en sciences de l'éducation. Je suis directeur de cabinet du ministre des Enseignements secondaires au Niger.
Good morning, I'm Sandhya Amugam from the University of Technology from Mauritius.
Good morning all, I'm Rachel Ogbe from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Abuja, Nigeria.
Good morning, my name is Edda Boone. I'm the Director for Programs and Quality Assurance at the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture in Namibia.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Kakukuru. I'm a Program Officer in the Gender Unit at the SADC Secretariat. Thank you.
Bonjour, je suis Aïssa Toumbara Diallo. Je travaille au ministère de l'Enseignement supérieur et plus particulièrement au service genre et équité.
Good morning, I'm Rose Kalizangoma from Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in the Directorate of Higher Education in Malawi. Thank you.
Bonjour tout le monde, je suis Irishpa Keramahazusu. Je suis enseignant d'université en mathématiques, mais pour le moment, je suis directeur de l'éducation fondamentale au ministère de l'Éducation qui s'occupe du primaire et du collège. Merci. Madagascar.
Good morning, moi, je suis guinéen. Je m'excuse.
My name is Ekou Dukle. I'm the Assistant Minister of Science, Technology, TVET, and Inclusive Education, Republic of Liberia.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ratsu Majara from Ministry of Education and Training in the Kingdom of Lesotho. Thank you.
Bonjour tout le monde, je suis Nicolas Rush, je suis conseiller régional pour l'éducation auprès du bureau de l'UNICEF pour l'Afrique de l'Ouest et du Centre, basé à Dakar.
Bonjour, je suis Marisol Efirinkowabe, directrice générale d'enseignement primaire et préscolaire de la République de Guinée-Côte d'Ivoire.
Bonjour tout le monde, je suis Ansé Perrion, étudiant à l'Université de Technologie.
Good morning, I'm Mini from the Tertiary Education Commission, Mauritius.
Good morning, I'm Lakshmi from Ministry of Education, Republic of Mauritius.
Good morning, I'm Shani from Ministry of Education, the Republic of Mauritius.
Good morning, I'm Reverend Joanna from Ghana, working with Ministry of Education and specifically Ghana Education Service in the Science and Maths Unit. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Constance Wanika. I run a metal fabrication company called Accents in Art in Accra, Ghana.
My name is George Afeti. I'm a tertiary education and TVET consultant from Ghana.
Good morning. My name is Aissatou from the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Gambia.
Good morning. I'm Shalini Lechman from the International Relations Desk of the Ministry of Education, Mauritius.
Hello everyone, I'm Theophania Chavassier from UNESCO and I'm based in Paris.
A refreshing morning to you all. I'm Evangelista. I'm from the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development from Zimbabwe.
Hambad Mashelen is my name. I'm from the Commission of the African Union, specifically from the division dealing with science and technology. Thank you.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Moi, je suis Noureddine Selmi de la Tunisie. Je suis professeur universitaire. Je suis chef de cabinet du ministre de l'Enseignement supérieur, la recherche scientifique et l'éducation en Tunisie.
Morning, Angela Nakafero is my name. From Uganda, Minister of Education and Sports, Head of the Gender Unit.
Good morning. My name is Exilda from the Ministry of Education in Zambia. I'm from the Department of Curriculum Development.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Beatrice Mwapenga Hamson. I'm the Director for Gender and Social Affairs at the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA. Thank you.
Bonjour tout le monde, je suis Lamia Sharifourati, maître de conférences en télécommunication à l'Institut supérieur d'informatique et de multimédia de Sfax et chercheur au centre de recherche en numérique à Sfax. Et je suis aussi la lauréate du prix scientifique Kaomi Nkrumah 2016 sur la région l'Afrique du Nord. Et je suis de la Tunisie.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ave Maria Semakafu, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, Science and Technology from Tanzania, responsible for basic education and vocational studies.
Good morning, I'm Viva from the Ministry of Education, Mauritius.
A very good morning to you all. My name is Lindwe Lami. I'm from the Kingdom of Swaziland. I'm the Director for Educational Testing, Guidance and Psychological Services, responsible for HIV and gender mainstreaming in the education sector, and career development. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Hema and I'm the co-founder of WomEng from South Africa.
Good morning, I'm Manu Rama from the Ministry of Education, Mauritius.
Good day to all. My name is Karabu Mutsirisi Utra, coming from South Africa. I'm a graduate civil engineer and part and parcel of the NBO, non-profit organization WomEng.
Bonjour, Madame Diop. Je suis du ministère de l'Enseignement supérieur et de la Recherche du Sénégal. Je coordonne la cellule genre de ce ministère et je suis professeur de mathématiques. Merci.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alisha Bulaki, a lecturer in Financial Economics and Stats from the University of Technology, Mauritius.
Good morning. I'm Shireen from the University of Technology, Mauritius.
Good morning. I'm Ruvani from UNESCO in Paris, France.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Kota from UNESCO Dar es Salaam office, responsible for girls' education and inclusive education.
Good morning. I'm Obaiton Mary from Federal Ministry of Education, Nigeria. Chief Education Officer, Department of Basic and Secondary Education. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Komo Blessing Fortune, medical student, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, and the founder of the Robot Therapeutics Studio, Nigeria. Also the founder, Skill Up Nigeria program. Thank you.
Everybody, I'm Dr. Rajiv Nenduradu, Senior Lecturer from the Mauritius Institute of Education.
Good morning. I'm Shivani Georgievich from the Law Department of the University of Mauritius. Thank you.
Bonjour tout le monde, je suis René Christian, de plan international dans son bilan de liaison à l'Union africaine. Je suis rwandais, mais basé à Addis Abeba, Éthiopie.
Hello, I'm Sarah from Plan International, Girls Advocacy Alliance Manager based in Ethiopia.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Mrs. Bihari Pare, Acting Director from Ministry of Education, Mauritius.
Hello, everybody. I'm Vandana Jodua, Coordinator at the Ministry of Gender Equality, Child Development, Family Welfare, Mauritius.
Hello, everybody. Pushan from the Ministry of Gender Equality, Child Development, and Family Welfare. Gender unit mostly. Thank you.
I assume everybody had a chance for the introductions. Thank you very much. There's just a kind request, ladies and gentlemen, that we kindly register, and so that we have the list ready for future reference and distribution. The table at the back, you introduced yourself, I believe. Yes. Wonderful. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are 15 minutes into the program, and I would like to request Mr. Hambani Masheleni to kindly take over the next sessions. Thank you very much to our two presenters. And the challenge is now up to him to see how to work in the 15 minutes. Please, knowing you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that smooth transfer of power. Good morning once again. My name is Hambani Masheleni. I will call three ladies to join me on the table. Where are these ladies? Where's the other one? As they are coming up, we are going to have a round session, a round table session here. And what we are going to look at is to try to interrogate this worrisome topic that since the beginning of this conference, in the opening until now, we are engaged with. We want to look at accessibility of science, technology, education, and mathematics for girls and young women in Africa. We believe that we need to think beyond our current mentality, beyond our current understanding, to look at what exactly can be done. So I'm asking my panelists to have an open heart, a frank discussion, and also to keep time to allow for the greater audience to be part of this discussion. Because we believe that in the African Union Commission, with its Agenda 2063, we are laying strong emphasis on STEM as tools for transforming Africa into a modern and powerful continent with attractive economic growth rates and high returns on investment. Our department, for which CIEFFA is one of our our big offices regionally dealing with this issue, we underline the crucial importance of STEM to our innovative capacities and global competitiveness through various horizontal strategies, such as the one in education, the CIEFFA strategy for girls and young women, the science and technology strategy, and those strategies dealing with gender disparity and inequality. Our science strategy aims at enhancing the implementation of STEM programs across the continent through increased technical and professional competencies, promotion of innovation and entrepreneurship, stronger protection of intellectual property, and improvements in research and innovation infrastructures. If we look at our context in Africa, and possibly the UNESCO report has already been alluded to by the minister in her opening, but the World Bank report estimates that on average, 23,000 qualified academicians emigrate from Africa each year. And this is leading to a shortage of skilled and professional human resources in the continent. And above all, it's weakening and paralyzing our development efforts on the continent. We must therefore take deliberate steps to mobilize various segments of our population to participate in STEM. In particular, girls and women, who make up approximately 60% of our population, and they are badly underrepresented in STEM jobs and education. There are a potential, an economic potential, a talent that we should tap on. And therefore, this meeting is one of those efforts to deploy our energies to ensure that we boost investment, we enact appropriate policies, and we embark on the implementation of what we agree on to allow the women to be part of the workforce of the African continent to achieve and realize our objectives. I'm happy I'm joined with the three ladies here. They will introduce themselves, but I'll give you their first names. There is Miss Rovan on my left, on my right. Sorry, I've already started making mistake on that one. Then Miss Hema on my right, and Miss Emicha at the far right there. I will ask them to introduce themselves as we try to tackle this question together. And in our discussion, I will ask them to give us several experiences. But first, let me give them just two minutes each to introduce yourself before we get into real business. We've got 1 hour for ourselves, and we've got 1 other hour that we'll dedicate to the floor to interrogate with us. And after that, I will ask each of you to sum up what are the recommendations that you are getting from the floor. I'm not going to do it, you are going to do it. So take your pen and papers as the people are talking, as well as when you are talking. Thank you very much. Let me start with the far right there.
Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis Anne-Marie Amichia, épouse Ekra. Je suis ingénieure de l'aviation civile de Toulouse, en France. Bon, attends, ok. J'ai fait toute ma carrière, enfin une grande partie de ma carrière dans la compagnie nationale, multinationale Air Afrique, où je m'occupais d'opérations aériennes et de sécurité des vols. Et j'ai terminé directrice des opérations. Ensuite, j'ai intégré le ministère, l'administration ivoirienne, comme conseiller technique chargé des infrastructures aéroportuaires. Et j'ai aussi terminé directeur de cabinet en charge du suivi des infrastructures aéroportuaires, mais aussi portuaires et ferroviaires. Et là, depuis janvier 2014, j'ai eu pour mission de mettre en place le bureau pour les enquêtes sur les accidents et incidents graves d'aviation civile en Côte d'Ivoire, qui était une exigence de certification de notre aviation civile. Et donc, ce bureau ayant été mis en place, aujourd'hui, j'en assure la direction. Je suis mariée, mère de 4 enfants qui travaillent tous aujourd'hui. Merci.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ravani Sigamani, and I run the UNESCO engineering program in Paris, France. I've been at UNESCO now for 10 years, and I got into the engineering program as I started in the mining sector as a chemical engineer in a platinum refinery. And I have to say that that is really, you know, being a woman from Africa, as I'm from South Africa, in STEM. What was really interesting is that there are many problems, you know, and there's not many women in engineering as well. Actually, in all the STEM degrees that we find, engineering is one of the lowest representation of women. And a simple problem of being one of the few women on a mine was that I had to walk 2 kilometers to go to a toilet for women, which was in the secretarial block. So it was little problems like that that makes you think about the, you know, the larger problem of why we need women in STEM, and especially in Africa. But it's not just an African problem, it's a global problem, which I think we're going to tackle as well. But of course, Africa needs more women now than ever before, and there's so much that we can do about it. In the UNESCO program, we work a large part. UNESCO has 2 global priorities, one being Africa, the other being gender equality. So this topic is exactly where we are, what we're doing to get more young women into engineering, into STEM. And I think this will be an exciting session to be involved in. So thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Hema Valeb, and I'm the co-founder of a global social enterprise called Women in Engineering, where we basically work across the pipeline to attract, develop, and retain the pipeline of female engineering talent. I'm a chemical engineer myself by profession, and I started the organization when I was actually a university student studying engineering a good 11 years back. And, you know, the organization was really started with the mentality, we all know engineering is a very male-dominated space. And even then, as a student, we were a minority in the class, facing various sort of challenges and discrimination. And it was really with the mentality that we can either sit and complain about it, or we can actually do something about it. Fast forward 11 years, the organization has flourished into a global organization, starting in South Africa, but now working across the globe with a strong focus on Africa, where at every level, you know, at high school, it's about attracting girls into the pipeline. At university level, it's about developing these girls and getting them ready for industry so that they can thrive and flourish once they get into the space. And of course, at industry level, a hot topic these days is the retention of female engineering talent. You know, really ensuring that we're not setting these girls up for failure by getting them into the pipeline and, you know, then what? It was really my personal experience. So I worked as a petrochemical engineer for a good just under 6 years. And like Ravani, I was working in Germany, you know, first world Germany, the land of engineering. And I worked in a plant with no female toilets. And I had to walk to the office block in, you know, -5 degrees. And again, it was just an affirmation that as much as the organization started in South Africa, this is very much a global issue, again, reiterating the previous speaker. And today, as much as we're 11 years on, very much at the beginning of the journey, because there's still much work to do. So much so that it was in 2013, so almost 4 years ago, I actually took the plunge and left my day job to, at the time, follow my passion to run the organization full-time. And today, running programs all over at every level, and I'm looking forward to seeing how beyond just running programs we can actually start informing policy, making implementable, tangible changes so that we can start seeing the results. Just one of the big milestones in celebration of our 10-year birthday last year, to really drive home our commitment, Women launched a campaign where we're committing to reach 1 million girls in STEM in the next 10 years in at least 10 different geographies. We're very excited to have partnered with UNESCO on this initiative. I'll talk a bit about the Pink Heart Hat a bit later, but it really is the symbol of this campaign where, quite simply, sometimes you need to fight a stereotype with a stereotype. And hopefully throughout when we talk about implementable programs, I'll tell you more about the program and the workshops we run.
Thank you very much. I'm sure now we are all aware of our panelists, who they are and what they are representing. The challenges in Africa facing girls and women in STEM are complex, are a combination of multiple factors. They should be understood and addressed from a wider socioeconomic, cultural, and policy context. And they require solutions that may be multidimensional. Addressing this problem may also address other problems that the continent is facing. But I will pose a few questions for all of us, not only for these panelists, but for all of us to think about, so that when we are making our interventions, we focus on tangible issues. The first thing I want to hear from my panelists is that from your different personal experiences in STEM, what are the main factors that influenced you as girls and now probably young women or women to take up STEM careers? I also want to hear what are the drivers for gender disparity in STEM in Africa. Already you started to mention some of them, I hear you, but how can we break these barriers down, and how did you navigate through? But most importantly, in the discussions that went on earlier alone, we were talking about male-dominated professions. Is it that the male dominate the profession, or there is something that women, girls and women must do that change in perspective and behaviors of women so that you boldly take the STEM challenge in your hands? I want that to become very clear from not only these people, but you too. I'm also very cognizant of the presence of male participants in this workshop. I want to hear it from the male perspective. What should you do more in order to encourage girls and women in STEM? And also, what are the expectations of these women from you as male in dominating the STEM professionals? What do they want you to do? Let's get that addressed as well. And I also want in this discussion to hear more about why is it important for us in Africa to encourage more girls and women in STEM? What strategies or policies do we recommend at various levels, national, institutional, regional, and continental? But strategies alone are not enough. We have quite a lot. We have Agenda 2063, it is a 10-year plan. We've got the education strategy, the science strategy. CIEFFA have got a strategy for girls. We need to take a step forward. Let's action. What are the commitments in terms of action, investment, and implementation we must see for us to change this landscape? What can communities, individuals such as you, those who have won the Kwame Nkrumah Awards, do in order to promote the participation of women in STEM? What can the private sector, the civil society, the partners, we've got Norway here, what can they do, probably more, to see Africa having more girls and women in STEM? The other important thing I'm interested in now for the public, for the plenary to hear what are your views on this. Each of you will have 10 minutes. Feel free, comfortable, open heart, and tell us what are your thoughts on this topic, addressing these questions and also adding what you think should be done. After your interventions, we'll open up plenary. After the plenary, we'll start with recommendations coming from you and me as well. So let's be busy. Thank you. We'll start with you this time.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think it's really about where the moderators started around why did we get into engineering? And I'm going to be quite transparent and honest about my story. I actually fell into engineering for all the wrong reasons. I grew up in a small town called Lenasia from what was regarded as a previously disadvantaged community in a very recent post-apartheid South Africa. And growing up in a very close community, I didn't know much about what was out there. I went to a very basic school. Fortunately, I had very passionate teachers, and that's why I really enjoyed maths and science. But when it came time to matriculate and think about what I was studying, I actually got a scholarship to study in Cape Town. And coming from South Africa, coming from Lenasia, the small town south of Johannesburg, I was like, Cape Town sounds great. Just so happens I have to study engineering. Okay, I like math and science, let's do it. I was actually just really fortunate that I ended up really enjoying what I was studying. I always take on a good challenge, but not everybody, and I looked in my class, I looked at both boys and girls alike, but more so the girls, and many of them did get into engineering for various wrong reasons. And just part of this mentality with why when we started the organization, our high school division called Girl Eng, for me, that was my baby of the organization. I said, I don't want other girls to make the mistake I did. Engineering as it is a tough course to study. When you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're more likely to fail. So our Girl Eng division, it was really quite simply and is about information and awareness. It's about taking this information to the girls. We claim to live in the information age where technology is readily available at the tip of our fingers. But I always say Google is only as powerful as the question that you put into it. If girls these days aren't even asking about engineering and larger STEM-related careers, why would they be asking the questions? So through our Girl Eng programs, and it happens at every level, from huge information sessions, which we call our Ask an Engineer sessions, it's really about taking the information to these girls at every level, from primary school all the way through to high school. And then doing a deeper dive, we then run workshops around where we do actual projects, building a balloon-propelled car or building the tallest structure from straws. And that, for me, is really about making engineering real to them. I remember at school learning about, force and acceleration and all these fancy concepts in physics and then all the algebra that we did. But I didn't know what it translated to. So it was really with that mentality that we start, again, making engineering real to girls and making STEM more accessible to them. And then, of course, those girls, when they're later in their high school careers, when they're now actually deciding just what courses they're going to study, then we do deeper dive workshops around, how do you apply at university? What are the entrance requirements? How do you apply for bursaries and scholarships? And very important is mentorship. Because throughout my journey as well, I sit here today running this organization, which is flourishing 11 years later, and being invited at forums like this, and people say, oh gosh, you're really successful, your career is 10 years ahead of your age. I'm a product of mentorship. I have had people along the way, whether it was explicitly or implicitly so, guide and show me and experience who I have leveraged off. And that's really a key component for us, to have someone hold his girl's hand as they walk the journey. You'll hear in the session later one of the beneficiaries of our program, Karabo, and she'll share, her journey from her experience from high school, university, and now working as a female engineer. And it's those stories that make me really proud and really, are a testament to the work we do. But staying onto mentorship and, going in a little bit of a mixed order with the questions you asked, but around the role of men. It's not sitting here and talking about strategies for girls and women. For me, it's not around men versus women. I don't necessarily believe in a boardroom full of women either. It's about the balance thereof. Part of my mentorship journey has been men championing me, men championing my organization. And I think there's a critical role that men have to play. They have to be a part of this conversation. The reality of the engineering world, the larger STEM world, that it is majority men. And I do agree, we use the term male-dominated, but what does that mean? So historically, yes, the numbers show there's more men than women. And while we spend a lot of time empowering girls and women, it's around how do we also equip men to start welcoming women into the field, enhancing and championing them, like I said. A lot of it is also around unconscious bias. I'd like to believe that men aren't vindictively trying to, not allow women into the space. But sometimes they don't know what they don't know. I remember when I was practicing as an engineer, a young engineer, you're every minority. You're female, you're young, you're the wrong color. When you're working in, deep industrial area in South Africa, and I was doing night shift, and I was the only person who looked like me, and I was surrounded by pretty much 50 to 60-year-old white Afrikaner men. It's intimidating, and you feel all sorts of level of discomfort, but I also realized they felt almost at university level. Again, it's an unconscious bias that exists around, are girls not smart enough? I think statistics have blown that out of the window. Results show at every level, girls are academically and, mentally tough, but it's more around sometimes the implicit skills. Some people call it soft skills, but it's around the confidence, self-worth, and just simply having a voice. And for me, this also largely speaks to culture, especially African culture. My story as a young Indian girl growing up in Johannesburg was, don't be too smart, you won't find a husband. Or, don't be too loud, you're just going to sound bossy. You get married at the age of 22, have your 2.5 kids, get married and live in a white picket fence house. Qualify, you must qualify because you must be educated, but don't use your education. Your role is to serve your husband. And what are we doing to address that? It's all good and well, we put programs and, get these girls into STEM and encourage them, but are we setting them up for failure when they go back home and this is what they're facing? My personal story, to share, I was that. I was thriving. I'm defined as a successful, independent woman. The world is celebrating me. I'm sitting here talking about, motivating and inspiring other women. A couple of years ago, I got married, and 3 months later, my husband left because I didn't fit the role of a typical Indian woman. And today I can talk about that without breaking down, but we can't isolate our personal lives from our professional lives because they intertwine. Getting more girls and women into careers like this, having them thrive, having them being celebrated and being independent, also means that culturally, when they go back home in society and otherwise, they must be equally celebrated. So for me, that story, you can't talk about one without the other. My personal experience is very much built into the programs that we run at Women's. It's something I try to, whether it's, and I hate to talk about teach because it sounds very academic, but it's something we try to have our girls and women experience and also talk about it, because that's the other thing, we don't talk about these things. But hopefully as we start putting tangible strategies and implementable solutions in place, and at forums like these, once the conversation is open, we start seeing more of the results. I'm not sure if I've answered all your questions or if I'm talking for too long, so feel free to stop me anytime along the way. But I think largely around, again, my story around getting girls and women into STEM, and again, having them thrive once they're there. There's a lot of work to be done still. I do believe we're making progress, but we're far from where we need to be.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm not going to comment on anything. You have clapped your hands, except on one thing. I'm not going to tell you to stop, because it's like stopping you from fixing that pump which is not working. Fix it yourself. Thank you.
Okay, so my story is how did I get into engineering? Actually, I was 11 years old, and I loved maths. I think this is where it starts, your love of maths and science and physics. So at 11, my maths teacher, who was a male, which apparently is not very common nowadays to find male teachers as well in primary schools, but he was a male, and he told me, you're going to be a chemical engineer. And at the time, I didn't know what it meant. And also, everyone else was saying, oh, but you're going to be a doctor. And, you know, this is what girls do because, you know, you can go be a doctor and you can have a family and, you know, life will be easy. But then forward into high school and then university, and I started working with, well, I got a bursary to study with the Impala Platinum refinery, and then I got into engineering. And similar to what Hema said, I think it's a love for what you're doing as well. It's embracing your career, but then also realizing that there's so many differences out there. And I think the drivers for the disparity in STEM and you know, the breakdown, we have a huge brain drain, it's true, in Africa. But it's not just Africa, it's actually, there's a shortage of young people in STEM and women in STEM all over the world. And of course in Africa, it's also about how much you're paid, the payment, and in other developing or developed countries in Europe and in America, it's much easier to find a job being a woman, being an engineer, or a scientist, you know, in a STEM field. And thus there's this huge brain drain, and you know, we're working on these problems as well of how to keep people in and how to make them stay in the countries. One of the programs, so I'll talk to you about what UNESCO does specifically. One of the programs we have is the UNESCO L'Oreal Women in Science program. And this is already where we've had 787 laureates from over 30 countries around the world who've actually, and these are role models. These are women who have advanced in their careers as scientists or engineers and are now working around the world. And there's each year 5 regions are given priority, and there's one shining female, and there's a region for Africa and the Arab states. And what's quite interesting from this program is that 2 women that received the UNESCO L'Oreal laureates went on to become Nobel laureates, and they won the Nobel Prize. And the other great achievement is that actually the president of Mauritius, Madame Gaurav Fakim, she's actually a UNESCO L'Oreal laureate as well. So the program has, has recognized and seen amazing women, and these are role models that other girls can see as well, because looking at STEM careers and looking at women in STEM, it's quite interesting to have someone that you can look up to, someone from your country, someone locally that you want to aspire to be like. Then the UNESCO program also, the UNESCO L'Oreal program also offers international fellows, where we have over 2,200 women in 110 countries from around the world. And these are women that are studying, Africa, Asia, all over the world, but they are funded by L'Oreal to study in another country and then return to their own country. So this is one way to prevent the brain drain, to allow young scientists to see, international laboratories and how science is done, but then to take that knowledge back home, because this is really important, to share what you've learned with your country as well. Looking at, when we say, are girls good enough for STEM careers and science and engineering, quite an interesting study done by the National Science Foundation in the US was that 5-year-old girls and boys were put into a classroom and were given a test, and it was a maths test, just to see the results. And what came out was that the girls scored higher than the boys. And thereafter, the girls were told, girls are not smart and girls are not good in maths. And they were given the test again. A similar test, same standard. And it came out that the girls actually did worse than the boys, and the boys did much higher. And what this shows is that teachers actually influence young people so much, and the stereotypes in our society and the gender roles play such a huge importance. And Hema alluded to this a lot. It's true, what we tell our girls is what they become later. So we have to give them empowerment. We have to tell them that they can do everything, because they can, and STEM careers is one of it. But also, having men agree to have them in that domain is really important, and having an openness. One of the programs that you know, having men in the room to talk about this, Emma said it too, we need men. We need those that are in control to actually welcome young women into the STEM careers. And you know, having forums like this, having people talk, also in Intel. Intel formed quite an interesting, a women's forum, they said, which was internal, to kind of empower women at Intel, because they also found, even Intel, being a technology company, is very male-dominated. So they started this forum with only women at the beginning, and it seemed great, because, you know, because women were talking about their problems and what to do. But women talking to women also means that you understand each other, but then the men in your companies don't understand you. So what they did is they invited the CEO of Intel and, you know, the highest ranking, and these men came over to the meeting. And suddenly, it just didn't become a women's forum. It became an Intel forum where men started listening to, you know, what the women were going through and how what problems they were experiencing. And so even in the company, it started changing its policies to actually address this. So in terms of how we address and how we change STEM as well, we need a top-down approach, which is working with governments and putting in policies and strategies. But then we need a bottom-up approach. And I think this is where organizations like Women with HEMA come in, and this is why UNESCO works with them as well. Because we need to go onto the field, we need to go out there, we need to have hands-on programs, we need young girls and young women to actually feel science and touch science so that they become scientists and engineers, so that they want to go into these careers. One of the studies show that young people actually make their decisions of which career, whether they're going into arts and history or science, at around 11 and 12 years of age, which means that we really have to get them at primary school or even before. Because once, you know, a lot of target is high school, but then these girls have already decided what they're going into. So a large influence is getting these young girls in and getting them interested in a very young age and as soon as possible. One of the studies done by UN Women, and it says that women and girls continue to be excluded from participating fully in STEM careers, as we know. But according to the study in 14 countries, it was noted that the probability for female graduates to graduate with a bachelor's degree was 18% compared to 37% with boys. For a master's degree, there were 8% of girls compared to 18% of boys, and for a PhD, it was 2% of girls compared to 6% of males, which means that women graduating in the STEM fields is less than half of that for males. So it's quite difficult, you know, it's a long road and there's quite a lot to be done. But when we look at data and statistics, it's true that there isn't much data and statistics for STEM, and especially for engineering. And what we find is when we look at engineering around the world, if we look at Europe, around the world, we're lucky if we get 20% of women in engineering. What's quite interesting is that in Europe, the average is around 6.6%. But it's really interesting that some of the most developed countries actually have the lowest percentage of women in these careers of engineering and science. Especially in engineering, one of the countries that has the lowest is the UK with 8.5% and Switzerland with 9% of women in engineering. And this means that some countries in Africa where we do have statistics is much more. We see South Africa with around 12% of women in engineering and Kenya with around 10% of women in engineering. So Africa, it's great to note that the number of women going into science and engineering in Africa is increasing. So this is really positive. The thing is that the numbers are low throughout the world, so we really need to get the numbers up there. If we look at computer sciences, it's decreasing around the world. But in terms of women research in general, we find that female with bachelor's and master's degrees is around 53%. So there's more women around the world at universities at the moment getting bachelor's and master's degrees. When it goes up to PhD degrees, it's around 43%. But then when we look at researchers and professors at universities, it goes right down to 28%. So we have the leaky pipe syndrome, where we seem to lose young women in science and research along the way. And we need to find a way of keeping them in. Also, it's the way that we sell these professions. The UNESCO engineering report says that, when you look at an engineer, a male engineer, an engineer is usually seen as an older, introverted male with a white hard hat. And this doesn't sound appealing to any young girl who wants to go into engineering. And this is where Hema changes that with the pink hard hat, which is great to show the difference. But it's also to say that, we need changes. We need a career where women feel that they are invited to work in. Women also want to make a change and want to see the change around them. And this is where engineering is now changing with the human-based approach, teaching, and where we're trying to get more young people in to show them where we are. I'm running out of time, so I can't tell you the other programs, but I will probably discuss it with you during the discussions. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are keeping time. Madam Aisha?
J'espère être aussi moins longue.
Amit here. Yeah, go ahead.
Anne-Marie.
Okay.
Mais moi, je vais essayer d'être peut-être plus terre à terre pour faire comprendre un peu aux jeunes filles, aux filles, à nos dirigeants, à des institutions comme l'Union africaine et puis d'autres institutions financières, faire comprendre qu'une femme ingénieure, une femme chercheur de très haut niveau, avec une très belle carrière, même internationale, n'est pas une personne extraordinaire, donc inaccessible, à laquelle effectivement les jeunes filles se disent je ne peux pas faire la même chose. Non, au contraire, mon parcours et les facteurs qui ont fait que je suis aujourd'hui ingénieur aviation civile, expert même, et on n'est pas très nombreux au niveau de l'Afrique, au niveau de la Côte d'Ivoire, et même, je veux dire, dans le monde, au niveau de l'aviation civile, nous sommes compétitifs, et je suis compétitive. Donc, mais à l'origine, je ne voulais pas être ingénieure, je voulais être pharmacienne, tout simplement. Pourquoi? Parce que peut-être il n'y avait pas de modèle. Et aujourd'hui, c'est le cas encore. Il n'y a toujours peut-être pas de modèle de femmes, grandes femmes ingénieures, des modèles visibles et communs. Je veux dire, on a des femmes pharmaciennes, on a des femmes professeurs agrégés en médecine, mais des femmes scientifiques, chercheurs, ingénieurs, elles ne sont pas visibles dans le quotidien des petites filles et des jeunes femmes. Moi, j'étais brillante à l'école dans les matières mathématiques, physiques, scientifiques que j'adorais. Et c'était mes matières préférées. Mais c'est aujourd'hui la matière préférée de nombreuses petites filles et de nombreuses jeunes filles. Beaucoup plus maintenant qu'à notre époque. Dans les écoles primaires, les petites filles sont brillantes. Elles adorent les calculs, les maths. Au secondaire, pareil, les jeunes filles sont brillantes en maths, en physique. Et elles adorent ces matières-là. Et pourquoi elles ne choisissent pas les filières scientifiques? Moi non plus, j'ai choisi la pharmacie et j'aurais eu ma belle pharmacie. J'avais déjà trouvé l'emplacement de ma pharmacie. J'aurais été financièrement assise, j'aurais pu gérer mon tante, la famille, la maison. Je veux dire, il y a d'énormes avantages à être pharmacienne. Mais je ne l'ai pas été par la volonté de l'État d'abord. Donc ça veut dire que n'importe quelle petite fille qui aime les maths peut effectivement prendre ces filières-là si l'État décide. Dans mon cas précis, c'est que l'État, effectivement, à cette époque-là, octroyait des bourses aux meilleurs élèves des filières scientifiques. Et j'en faisais partie. Donc, de ce fait, je fais partie de la liste des attributaires. Donc, il y a eu un choix à faire. Là intervient un autre facteur, le facteur environnement familial, milieu culturel. Je vous dis, ma mère et moi, nous avions déjà trouvé l'emplacement de la future pharmacie. C'est mon père qui était fier de pouvoir avoir demain une fille ingénieure qui a basculé, qui a fait peser dans la balance. Et puis l'attrait, effectivement, d'avoir une bourse pour aller faire des études à l'étranger. Ça aussi, ça m'a attiré. Mais ce n'était pas fondamental pour choisir une branche scientifique. Donc déjà, vous voyez un peu déjà les étapes, c'est que il faut être influencé positivement. Donc l'État doit jouer son rôle. L'État doit susciter ce genre de vocation par des bourses, d'abord par l'école obligatoire. Il faut un volume de filles dans les branches scientifiques. Elles adorent les maths, autant que les garçons, les petits garçons détestent les maths et la physique. Mais comme les garçons ont un volume plus important au bac, en terminale, de ce fait, le petit pourcentage des garçons qui choisissent les filières scientifiques sont de loin beaucoup plus supérieure aux filles. Donc il faut qu'on augmente le vivier de ces filles-là, déjà, à la base. Ça, c'est un. Ensuite, deuxième facteur, j'ai donc choisi effectivement la filière ingénieur. Je suis allée à Toulouse. Je suis allée d'abord en maths sup et en maths spé. Là-bas, maths sup, maths spé, quand on vient d'Afrique, une jeune petite fille qui vient d'Afrique, qui était brillante à Abidjan, se retrouve en maths sup, maths spé à Paris, avec tous les brillants de terminale C, là-bas. Les résultats étaient déjà pas brillants. Conclusion, il faut savoir qu'en maths sup, on ne redouble pas la maths sup. En fin de maths sup, ou vous passez en maths spé, ou vous allez à la fac. Et la maths sup, vous avez l'équivalence de la DUG à la fac. Et donc, au mois de février, dans toutes les maths sup, c'est un système français, hein, vous devez déjà choisir, si vous continuez, on vous donne la chance d'intégrer la fac. Bah, écoutez, toute brillante que j'étais à Abidjan, là-bas, moyenne, je me dis, vaut mieux assurer et ne pas, comme on dit en Afrique, verser la figure des parents. Donc, je décide d'aller à la fac. Au moins, là-bas, je suis sûre d'assurer une DUG. Ben, là, pourquoi je ne suis pas allée encore? Ben, par la volonté d'un professeur. Donc là, encore, il faut sensibiliser le corps enseignant. Un professeur, c'est-à-dire le professeur de maths qui était craint dans cette école, vous voyez le professeur vieille France, dont tout le monde a peur, qui dit « Mademoiselle, ne partez pas. Vous avez le potentiel, vous avez tout le potentiel nécessaire qu'il faut pour réussir en maths sup. Vous avez juste un problème de méthode, de technique. Ce n'est pas grand-chose. Vous allez l'acquérir avec le temps. Mais je vous dis, vous avez le potentiel, restez. » Quand un tel professeur craint, vous dit « restez », vous restez. C'est même un honneur. Je suis restée et effectivement, en acquérant la technique, la méthode, aucun problème. J'ai terminé maths sup, maths spé. J'ai passé les concours des écoles polytechniques, centrales. On passe tous ces concours-là pour le prestige, filles comme garçons. Donc, il n'y a pas véritablement de motivation liée au genre quand on va faire ces études-là. C'est vraiment d'abord le prestige. Pourquoi l'aviation civile? Juste comme ça, par curiosité. Je partais dans mon esprit être ingénieur technique, électricienne, ingénieur électronicienne, informatique. On a le choix quand on est en maths sup. Et puis, on a parlé d'aviation au cours d'une conférence. Je me suis dit, ça fait moins commun. Donc, il faut aussi qu'on donne aux jeunes filles la culture de vouloir oser. Oser se différencier. Et ça, nos jeunes filles de maintenant sont parfaitement capables d'oser. Il faut juste leur donner les conditions. Et ça ne tient à rien. Le corps enseignant a une grosse responsabilité là-dedans. Il faut former nos enseignants parce qu'ils ont la capacité, ils ont la compétence de détecter les potentialités dans leurs élèves. Mais ils le font surtout pour les garçons, pas pour les filles. Donc il y a un gros travail à ce niveau à faire. Il ne suffit pas grand-chose pour ces filles qui adorent les sciences, pas grand-chose pour qu'un corps enseignant, un professeur les oriente vers ces filières-là et elles vont y aller tête baissée. Mais malheureusement, le corps enseignant lui-même n'est pas formé à ça. Et généralement, dans les classes, privilégie quand même les garçons, à compétences égales. Et ça, c'est quelque chose qu'il faut revoir, notamment en Afrique. Je parle pour ce que je connais le mieux. Donc, conclusion, je suis restée, j'ai eu mes concours. L'aviation civile, j'ai osé, j'ai passé les concours. Il y avait juste 5 places pour les étrangers. En admissibilité, à l'aise, comme beaucoup de jeunes filles en ce moment, qui n'était pas le cas de nous à l'époque. Pourquoi faire ingénieur aviation civile? Je dis, écoutez, je ne sais pas ce que c'est, donc je veux aller voir. Conclusion, j'ai été admise à l'aviation civile. Et sans aucune difficulté, les écoles d'ingénieurs, il suffit de travailler normalement, simplement, garçons comme filles. Donc, vous voyez que c'est la base qui est importante. Ensuite, j'ai eu mon diplôme d'ingénieur. J'ai travaillé d'abord en France, Air France, et j'aurais pu y rester. Mon statut de femme a fait que j'ai voulu suivre celui qui est devenu mon futur mari, donc j'ai décidé de rentrer. Donc, c'est vrai que j'ai arrêté cette carrière en Europe, mais je suis rentrée en Afrique avec mon mari, donc je n'ai pas sacrifié mon côté femme, féminin, pour justement être brillante quelque part ailleurs. Non, je suis rentrée, mais je suis rentrée aussi avec mes capacités que j'ai mis au service de mon pays. J'ai intégré la compagnie Air Afrique, où j'ai travaillé. Normalement, je n'ai pas senti de difficultés particulières inhérentes à ma condition de femme, uniquement du travail. Ma condition de femme, comment dire ça? J'ai progressé au sein de cette compagnie à des postes masculins de sécurité, de définition d'avion. Mais je pense que mon côté féminin a beaucoup joué dans l'efficacité justement de ce métier-là, de ces métiers-là. Et donc, il n'y a aucune raison que toutes les autres filles ne réussissent pas. C'est juste l'orientation de base. Par contre, où je dirais que mon côté féminin... Ah, j'ai peut-être dépassé. D'accord. Donc, progresser au sein de l'entreprise, je l'ai fait par défaut. Et d'ailleurs, toute ma carrière pour arriver où je suis aujourd'hui. À savoir que, à chaque fois qu'il fallait un nouveau poste, on cherchait qui? Mais il n'y avait personne d'autre que moi. Donc, on n'avait pas eu le choix. Les hommes qui m'ont fait toutes ces promotions n'ont pas eu le choix parce que j'étais là. Donc, j'essaie de faire comprendre aussi aux filles, aux jeunes femmes, que le fait de choisir des métiers spécialisés, ingénieurs, fait de vous, homme ou femme, qu'à un moment donné, on ne spécialise pas tout le monde comme ça. Donc, conclusion, vous restez quand même un élément important d'une entreprise, femme ou homme. J'insiste parce que je n'ai pas senti le caractère purement femme. Voilà. Donc, en conclusion, c'est qu'effectivement, on a une grande demande d'ingénieurs en ce moment. J'ai entendu des mots très forts, politique précise, orientation précise, action précise, conviction. Ben, c'est ça qu'il faut aujourd'hui. Nos États, d'abord, doivent obligatoirement mettre toutes les filles à l'école. Ça doit être maintenant un délit, un crime de ne pas le faire. Une fois qu'elles y sont, elles réussissent comme les femmes. Il faut que le corps enseignant soit sensibilisé à ne pas favoriser que les petits garçons, mais surtout les femmes. Donc, ils doivent être formés. Les conseillers d'orientation doivent être formés. Les comités scientifiques, etc., doivent embaucher. Il doit y avoir un certain nombre de parité dans tous ces comités-là pour que les filles soient encouragées. Et puis ensuite, toutes seules, elles y vont. Quelles que soient les difficultés, leurs compétences, leur rigueur, leur manque d'agressivité, leur esprit collaboratif font que même si elles ne sont pas agressives comme les hommes, elles comptent dans un système, dans une entreprise, pour un chef d'entreprise qui veut réussir. Et c'est ainsi que les filles avancent. Juste pour terminer, il ne faudrait quand même pas négliger les autres filières. Il ne faudrait pas que les filles pensent que ne faire que des branches scientifiques, c'est ce qui prévaut. Il faudrait que les femmes et les filles soient aussi brillantes dans les autres secteurs. C'est ensemble, avec un volume de femmes dans tous les secteurs, qu'on permet d'accompagner les autres filles. On donne des modèles de réussite dans ce qu'elles aiment, notamment les sciences. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, panelists. I think we have heard it from their different stories and aligned their stories to the topic we are trying to address. I will now open the topic to the plenary, and in terms of time, we have about an hour to do that. But within that hour, we will take 40 minutes to discuss here. Then we will take 20 minutes to find out what are the key recommendations we are giving to our institution, CIEFFA, we are giving to our national institutions and countries, our regional economic communities, and the African Union as a whole continentally. But ensuring that we are addressing the participation of women, girls in STEM. Once you have the floor, there are rules. Be precise to the point. You have maximum 2 minutes, and I'll be timing for that, so that we allow everyone to have an opportunity to contribute to this important topic. Now the floor is open. The panelists will assist me to identify some of the people I might not have seen. You can raise your flag so that we see you. First round. I'll close the round. I'll close this if you don't have any questions, and I'll ask the panelists to ask you questions. It's not question. It's this discussion to have key. If you want to ask questions to these people, it's fine, but let that question lead us to something that we have to extract. It's not about you did this, so why did this happen? No, let's look at this from a different perspective so that we ask ourselves difficult questions ourselves and then say what should be done. It's open. Right. We start from this side. This table I don't have, I've got one here. Okay, don't raise again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Some you can come in the next round. If you have not been counted, come in the next round, please. Next round, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 questions. You come next round. It's still open, okay? Let's start from here. There's one. Yes, monsieur, allez-y.
Merci. Je voudrais profiter du temps qui m'est donné pour m'adresser, en tout cas aux panélistes, les remercier pour ce qu'elles ont donné à l'assistance comme soubassement à ce forum. J'aimerais particulièrement parler de l'intervention de l'épouse Ekra. Elle a fait le parcours de son cursus jusqu'à devenir une femme, une grande dame dans le domaine de l'aviation. Elle a parlé du soutien en dehors de ses compétences, en dehors de ses acquis scolaires. Ce qu'elle a mis en avant, d'abord, il y a ce soutien de son père qui l'a dévié de son objectif qui était celui de devenir pharmacienne. Cela est très important parce que si le père ne s'était pas imposé, effectivement, elle allait devenir pharmacienne. Ça, c'est un premier soutien qu'elle a eu. Cela lui a permis d'avoir une bourse. Le père s'y est impliqué. Ce n'est pas donné à n'importe quel père aujourd'hui de s'impliquer pour avoir une bourse à sa fille. C'était aussi un autre support. Le troisième support, c'est celui de son professeur. Elle a bien noté que ce n'est pas n'importe quel professeur. Un professeur qui est écouté et qui lui a dit « Vas-y, tu peux réussir ». Et elle l'a entendu, elle l'a écouté et elle est partie. Je pense que nous sommes dans un domaine où, aujourd'hui, encore, il y a cette perception de penser que certaines disciplines sont des disciplines qui ne sont pas réservées aux femmes. Certes que l'esprit est en train de partir, mais moi, la recommandation que je fais par rapport à cela, c'est de démystifier les matières scientifiques en les rendant beaucoup plus attrayantes. Et pour cela, donc, il faut former les enseignants à la démystification des matières et il faut aussi donner des bourses d'encouragement aux filles afin qu'on les pousse à aller dans le domaine des sciences. Et c'est ce qui va nous permettre, en tout cas, de changer la tendance d'aujourd'hui. Merci. Thank you.
Merci, monsieur. C'était précis. Thank you very much. Where are you from?
Je viens du Niger où cela existe aujourd'hui, où nous avons dans notre système très peu de femmes, très peu de filles dans le système scolaire. Donc nous sommes en train de mener un combat pour renverser la tendance. Parce que dans notre système éducatif, vous avez plus de garçons que de filles. Plus on va à un niveau supérieur, plus le nombre de filles se réduit.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your points are very pertinent. If the rapporteur, do you require some kind of written intervention from them? Or it's okay so far? Vous pouvez écrire quelque chose parce que vous avez dit les choses qui est très important et puis vous donnez Madame Agusso là-bas. Okay. For all the people who are going to intervene, you tell us your country or your institution only. That's the data we want from you. Then go straight to your point. We are in this row now.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Rose Kalizangoma, Chief Education Officer for Higher Education Malawi. Actually, I would like to appreciate to what the presenters have done. They have done a great job and we have learned a lot from their experiences. And what I would tackle is from Ms. Rovani Sigamane. Is it Sigamane? Yeah, she mentioned something about the teachers not maybe negative comments from teachers. I'll just give it from our perspective. When I was a head teacher at one of the high schools, there was a physical science teacher, a male, and he used to tell the students, more especially girls, that, you know, physics is not as easy as you think. When I was at university, women could not afford, we only had it two. So if you are doing anything, concentrating on physical science, it means that you not go anywhere up until the girls came to our office and complained about this. And we discussed with the teacher that he's there to support the girls, not necessarily making them fear the subject. The second point was we had the programs when the students were going into the third grade or Form 3, where students, the girls would go for home economics and the boys would go to a technical drawing, technical education, something of that nature. Now there were 3 girls who said, no, we are not going to do, we are going to beat the system. We want to go into technical. So when they went to the class and said to the teacher that we are going to do technical education, everyone was not happy with their choice. They felt that they have beaten the system because the system was like girls should do home economics, boys should do the technical work. And when they got into the classroom, the teachers started telling them, yeah, thank you, telling them that no, you will not make it because this is males' work or subjects. So the girls, we had to invite the teachers as well, negotiated with them that they should do, whatever they'll be saying should be to encourage the girls. And the girls did very well. They went to a Polytechnic university and they finished. So we would say that whatever we as teachers say would either encourage or discourage students. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The rapporteur is there. If you are raising points and you really have got an actionable point, the rapporteur will be able to put that in our report. Going to that one. Vous are la next round. We are on that one. Yes.
Thank you, moderator. My name is Chris, representing Plan International African Union Liaison Office in Addis Ababa. Mine is a quick recommendation, basing from experience heard by our speakers. I recommend the establishment of influencing forums on girls and young women in STEM. And when I talk about forums, here we're looking at male who can serve as champions in supporting this cause. And there is a couple of experiences to be shared from our organizations. And we're talking about African women leaders. There is an African women leaders network that was established in June in New York. How can we leverage on that existing network actually to bring this subject into their agenda? And next meeting of this African Women Leaders Network is happening in September, if not October, in New York. How can we bring this issue of young women and girls in STEM into the continental agenda of these women? And talking of forums, I'm also looking at forums of young girls and young women who can serve as role models to other peers in STEM. And here, I was glad to hear Mrs. Hammer mentioning that we have a living experience in this room. These are the girls actually that needs to be supported to reach out to other young girls. And a forum of those kind of young girls can really, really make a difference. Because we as stakeholders can be talking these issues here, but it will not make a difference as it should when a girl talks to another girl. And finally, I'm looking at leveraging on existing platforms within the African Union. Since we're based in the African Union, how can we make sure that these girls interact more with the STC, Specialized Technical Committee of Ministers of Education, who will biannually meet in Addis to discuss education, science, and technology? How can we support young girls to engage with these ministers to ensure their voices are heard? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The chair will always raise the hand. If you agree with him, you round up so that we give others the chance. We opened the discussion at 12. Now it's 21 past 12, and I'm somewhere here. So by the time I get there, my time is finished. I really want everyone to have an opportunity. Let's share the time, please. Thank you. Here? 2 people here?
My name is Saku Dukle from the Republic of Liberia. Firstly, I would like to say thanks to the panelists for sharing their personal experiences with us. In the case of Liberia, 99.9% of students in tertiary education go for the humanities. Something is wrong. They are not going for STEM. My concern is, what are we doing in the classrooms that are causing students not to go for STEM? My thinking is that we need to make the teaching of the STEM subjects in the classroom more exciting, interesting, and more practical. We need to link the STEM subjects with real-life situations. This will encourage students. They will see the importance and the value to society. But we have been more theoretical, and we have not been linking to life situations that are causing our students to sway away from the STEM subjects. So I would like, in this forum, to begin to think on how we can present STEM to students, especially girls. We are not making the subjects interesting. Definitely, we'll not get students, we'll not get the girls to go into those areas. So this is my concern, and I think if we look at that approach, we'll be able to attract the girls as well into STEM. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sticking to time.
Thank you, Chairperson. I would like to thank the panelists for the experiences that they have shared. However, I'm still worried about the children with disabilities. How are we supporting them to actually venture into STEMs? And then I wanted to share that I've seen peer-to-peer learning to be more effective in terms of encouraging girls and young women into STEMs. And I think if we can also encourage more boys into participation of mentoring, I think we can actually deal with the issues of gender equity. Thank you.
now going. This is what I expected. We are there. Here, let's take 2 from this table and we'll go.
OK. Merci à toutes les 3 grandes dames. Je voudrais ici avoir l'occasion de contribuer en me basant essentiellement sur ma propre expérience. Moi, en tant qu'orpheline, je viens du Tchad, de la République du Tchad, originaire du Sud. Et d'abord, sachez qu'au Tchad, l'accès à l'éducation est un problème d'abord. Parce que là-bas, c'est là où on envoie les enfants beaucoup plus à l'âge de 9 ans, 10 ans au mariage, comme vient de le souligner le collègue du Niger. Alors, je voudrais parler de l'accès qui est un problème d'abord. Et à cause de l'éducation et du contexte culturel, ma grand-mère qui m'a élevée, pourtant qui n'était pas éduquée, qui n'a pas été à l'école, elle avait plutôt pris conscience que l'école est une très bonne chose et m'encourageait à aller à l'école. Et quand je partais à l'école, je revenais, elle me dit il faut qu'on révise les leçons. Et pourtant, elle ne savait ni lire ni écrire. Mais je me mettais à réviser les leçons, me rappeler de tout ce que le maître a fait pendant la journée. Et elle m'encourageait. Est-ce que tu es sûr que tu n'as pas oublié une chose? Et je réfléchis et j'arrive à me rappeler de quelque chose. Et ça m'a mené aujourd'hui à arriver à avoir une position quelque part. Et ce qui me dit qu'il faut d'abord changer l'éducation des enfants, leur dire de compter d'abord sur eux-mêmes, surtout les filles, de ne pas prendre leur condition de fille comme une contrainte, mais plutôt qu'elles sont des êtres humains à part et qui sont également doués. Je vous remercie.
We had 2 people here. Please don't raise your hand if you are not in the first lot. Let's just have 1 person from there, then we give others.
D'accord, merci beaucoup. Vraiment, je félicite tous nos panélistes qui nous ont apporté beaucoup d'informations et beaucoup d'idées. Je voudrais juste retenir quelques éléments. C'est déjà de commencer à mettre nos enfants à l'école. Et en Côte d'Ivoire, en 2015, il y a eu la décision politique ferme de notre gouvernement de scolariser obligatoirement tous les enfants. Et ceci a permis de booster déjà l'inscription des filles à l'école. Il y a un taux équivalent de filles et de garçons déjà à l'école primaire. Et ce taux commence à progresser tout doucement au premier cycle du secondaire. Donc ça, c'est une orientation. Ce matin, on disait il faut orienter, prendre mener des actions vigoureuses. Et je crois que là, c'est un exemple. C'est seulement en 2015, et je crois que nous allons peut-être progressivement monter la pente. Et également, ce que j'ai retenu, Madame a dit qu'il faut mener des ateliers pédagogiques. Il faut sensibiliser les enfants depuis l'école primaire. Parce que déjà, les stéréotypes font que, à l'école, on trouve que les filles ne sont pas bien dans la discipline scientifique. Donc, dès le départ, au lieu de donner que des poupées et autres, des jeux de filles à l'école, qu'on donne des jeux à tout le monde, que ce soit des filles ou des garçons, que ce soit des jeux scientifiques et autres. Je crois que vraiment, pour ne pas être trop long, j'aurai le temps pendant ces 3 jours de dire autre chose, mais conclusion, il faut donner la chance à tout le monde dès le départ. Merci.
That last table, yeah. We start with that and one more. Yes, madam? Number 5.
Thank you. In fact, I want to continue from my sister there. when sharing about the social condition, because when we are talking about education, in most cases we are locating ourselves in schools, but we forget the wider context, that is the community we live in, the culture that brought us up. She has shared the example of, poor families. But I'm talking about those who have managed to go up to university, on entering university, that's when they opt to get out of science. Why? Because of the employer's mentality about employing girls, especially in the fields of engineering. You'll find that they say, the work of engineers is in the field, in the sites, outside, the town and whatever. How can you get a young girl, a young engineer, posted maybe somewhere in the site outside, where people live? But we need to remember that most of our culture, the girls are not safe. Whenever a girl is seen, especially if she's alone, then she's a prey for men, the issues of rape. So when we are discussing any strategy, we need to look also the issue of safety environment, safety working environment, safety studying environment. Our presenter there said that she had to travel 2 kilometers to find a washroom for her, because the mentality is all engineers are supposed to be men. And now you can think about the work environment. So I propose that whenever we are coming for the way forward, instead of just looking about looking at the classroom environment, looking at the school environment, we need also to look from the employer point of view. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. I know you are from Tanzania. You didn't say that. I want one more from there, that table. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I also want to thank the presenters for sharing their experiences. Now, I want to talk on behalf of the rural girl child. In many African countries, and my country in particular, the time we were growing, for the rural child, those days in my country, even to get to apply to go to the university, I think the applications were done at secondary school. The girls didn't need to actually go fight out there to go and apply to go to the university. And because of that, I think there was some kind of access even for the rural child to go to the university. But at the same time, in terms of career guidance, I think it is important that the career guidance teachers in secondary schools, they encourage more girls to apply or to attempt to go into science and technology fields. I remember when I was a schoolgirl, our career guidance teacher, actually, what he said was to get into science and technology was very difficult for girls. And I was coming from a girls-only school. And he encouraged us to choose social sciences, all of us, when we were applying to get to university. And we found that all the girls in that particular year that were accepted to go to university, all of them were in the social science fields. None of us went to science, despite the fact that we were doing very well at secondary school in science and technology. I would have been a scientist by now, but I ended up being in the social field. Apart from that, when it comes to scholarships for girls, we are told in many countries, like in my country, there are scholarships available for girls and boys that go to university. But who is accessing these scholarships? You find that the people that access these scholarships are children that come from well-to-do families. The rural child is left out of these scholarships. I don't know what happens in other countries, but in my country, I think the rural child is completely left out, worse for the girl child. So the girls that are intelligent, that should have taken science courses, are out there without any support, worse for the rural child. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam, for your passion and the question. You are from COMESA. Please tell us the country or the institution you are so that people know more about you. I'm on this last table. I'll pick one. Yes, and then the last two. Let's go. 2 minutes, please.
OK. Bonjour. Comme je me suis présenté tout à l'heure, donc je suis Dr Fahmi. Je suis conseiller principal du ministre et je suis chargé au niveau du cabinet du ministre de la réforme de l'université de Djibouti. Je voulais très rapidement poser une question, mais avant de poser la question, je voulais faire un constat sur Djibouti. Depuis maintenant 5 ans, dans le gouvernement, il y a eu un ministère de tout ce qui est de la promotion de la femme, et il y a beaucoup de politiques actives en faveur des filles, de l'éducation des filles à Djibouti. Juste pour vous donner quelques statistiques, nous on constate qu'au niveau du primaire, par exemple, je vous donne un taux, le taux de scolarisation des filles est un peu faible, de l'ordre de 30%. On constate qu'il augmente au niveau du secondaire, il est à peu près de 40%. Et aujourd'hui, on arrive à l'université de Djibouti à avoir 49% pour les filles et 51% pour les garçons. Ça veut dire, c'est un phénomène vraiment qui est très intéressant. Ça s'explique par une déperdition plutôt de la scolarisation des garçons et une intensité au niveau de l'éducation des filles qui arrivent à s'accrocher et à s'en sortir au niveau de l'université de Djibouti. Et cette année, nos meilleurs lauréats au niveau de l'université de Djibouti sont des filles qui est dans des formations vraiment scientifiques. Ça, c'est le constat. Ma question, pour aller rapidement, c'est pour savoir quelle est la politique du Centre international de l'Union africaine pour l'éducation des filles en matière de renforcement, de politique de convergence, de politique en matière de l'éducation des filles dans la région, en Afrique. Est-ce qu'il y a, quelle est cette politique qui peut vraiment améliorer encore davantage, sachant que ce centre est très actif et par la même occasion, je remercie le responsable de ce centre qui font beaucoup de choses pour l'éducation et la sensibilisation de l'éducation des filles. Merci.
Thank you very much. You were extremely on time. Thank you for that. The last two, I'll start with the Zimbabwe, then UNESCO.
Thank you very much. I'm Evangelista from Zimbabwe. I just want also to add my recommendation on the role models. And I think across Africa there are very few, especially women in STEM. But I think we should not continue to bemoan that there are very few. We should actually utilize them effectively to nurture girls and young women in STEM. And I think there are also a few good men whom we can use as role models in STEM. I also want to say that I think if you are a role model, I think it's incumbent upon yourself to make sure that you bring others up. Let's not continue to say that I am the only one doing this or I am the only one who is qualified in this. In this day and age, I think it's a thing of the past. We now need to raise others and have credit to yourself on how many you can bring up. They say leaders do not have followers, but they create leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You were on time, UNESCO.
Thank you, Chair. Theophania Shavatia from UNESCO Paris. I just wanted to share with the audience today, noticing this very intense and interactive discussion around STEM for girls, that UNESCO has been working to develop a report on girls' education in STEM, synthesizing existing data from different countries where statistics are available in order to assess the status of girls in STEM, and then going a step further to analyze the root causes around the issue. And a lot of the things that you mentioned today are mentioned in the report and are synthesized, but they're backed up with evidence, with qualitative studies. So the report will be launched on the 28th of August at an international symposium and policy forum on STEM education for girls. It's going to be held in Bangkok. The report will be launched by the Director General of UNESCO at the presence of other ministers from different countries. I will be happy to provide more information about this event, so it's going to be entirely focusing on girls' education in STEM. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have saved a lot of time with this side now. Now, I'm not going to open another session like I've proposed, but I'm going to pick two hot people who were persistent. I'll pick this man here and that woman there. Madam, do you want to say something? Okay, I'll give you the opportunity. There is also another lady there. You want to say something? You. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I've got a very good idea of how we are going to conclude. Let's go. 2 minutes each. I'll stop you after 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the members. I realize my name is Kiran. I represent the Ministry of Education of Mauritius. We realize that the discussion that we've been having so far have centered around how to get girls and women into STEM. Quite relevant, we agree on that, but then how, or rather, what should be done, or what is being done to promote that those few women who are already engaged in STEM go further in the STEM sector? Do you think that, from my personal opinion, I think that the answer would be no, but still, do you think that these women who are already in STEM want to listen to that tiny percentage of those who have achieved some success talk about it? Or would they be more interested in knowing how to tap resources to further their ambition, how to access further funds for their research, how to be in scientific networking events, for example, without being looked down upon as, firstly, being a woman, secondly, being from Africa, or thirdly, being both a woman from Africa. So, to summarize, Chair, should we not start promoting ways by which women already in STEM can easily have access to resources and move forward, knowing that this would be maybe the best way to promote active STEM and at the same time promote other women from joining the STEM sector? Thank you.
Secretariat, you can liaise with that gentleman. I think he was precise on the comments that he has brought in, especially the progression aspect of it, that after getting into STEM, then what? Madam, be precise.
Ok, merci. Professeur Nadège Ngobé-Kabamba de la République démocratique du Congo. Je remercie les trois intervenants et de leur intervention, j'ai dégagé ce qui suit qui peut nous aider pour la prochaine étape. Les trois ont abordé cet aspect culturel qui constitue un blocage. On constate que les filles peuvent bien commencer, mais ne peuvent pas aller au-delà tout simplement parce qu'on leur dit qu'il faut se marier. Donc on a l'impression que étudier et mariage, ça ne fait pas bon ménage. Il faudra que nous puissions faire ressortir de ces forums comment chaque pays doit prendre une initiative pour montrer que l'aspect social de la vie, donc mariage, ne peut pas être en contradiction avec l'avancement des études, de la formation. Je crois que les deux dames l'ont montré. Deuxième aspect, c'est que dans nos différents pays, je pense que nous manquons cet aspect-là modèle. Nous devons peut-être créer au niveau de chaque pays qu'il y ait des sensibilisations, que ce soit à partir du primaire jusqu'au secondaire, qu'on puisse montrer à cette jeune fille qu'il y a des modèles. Madame est modèle. Je suis sûre que si elle fait la ronde des établissements scolaires, je crois qu'elle va faire rêver des filles qui se diront que moi aussi je peux devenir comme elle. Ce n'est pas impossible. Donc nous devons instituer cette culture-là de modèle, qu'il y ait au niveau de chaque pays ces sensibilisations pour montrer que celles-là qui ont réussi à être des modèles n'ont pas à démériter. Et puis troisièmement, c'est pour les fonds. Je m'excuse juste un petit peu. J'ai vu, on a parlé des bourses, mais je pense que avec l'Union africaine, avec ce qui a été adopté, qui est création d'un fonds pour la jeunesse, je pense que ça serait intéressant de dire jeunesse, oui, focalisée sur les filles et les femmes. Merci.
Madam, please. We are taking Madam there and Madam there, then we go to the next stage. The meeting is to come to an end at some point. Madame.
Merci. Et je remercie les intervenantes dans leur intervention, elles ont parlé de motivation et je pense que cette motivation des filles pour aller dans les STEM, c'est quelque chose de primordial. Quand je prends par exemple le cas de mon pays qui est la Guinée-Conakry, nous avons des filles qui s'orientent bien sûr, un faible pourcentage des filles qui s'orientent vers les filières scientifiques de nos institutions d'enseignement supérieur. Mais malheureusement, dès la première année, certaines changent d'option pour aller en économie, banque et autres, sous prétexte que les filières scientifiques, l'ingénierie et autres sont vraiment difficiles. Et en plus, celles qui restent dans nos institutions d'enseignement supérieur ne rivalisent jamais les garçons pour avoir des meilleures notes. Elles cherchent tout juste le strict minimum pour passer en classe supérieure. Et donc, il faut qu'il y ait réellement la motivation, telle que chez nous, on a eu à mettre en place, à expérimenter le tutorat académique pour les filles qui s'orientent vers les filières scientifiques et techniques pendant 4 ans, évidemment sous le soutien de la Banque mondiale. Mais ça a donné un très bon résultat et que même au lycée, tu entendais les filles dire « il faut que je m'oriente par là et parce qu'au niveau supérieur, j'aurai un soutien ». Mais malheureusement, ça n'a pas été vraiment, ça n'a été que ponctuel et non continuel. Donc, nous pensons que si on arrive vraiment à penser à ce tutorat-là ou bien à l'installation des prix d'excellence dans les filières scientifiques et techniques, ça va un peu motiver, ça va créer l'émulation et les filles pourront peut-être rester. Et c'est l'expérience-là que nous avons eu à faire dans notre pays. Et je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you, the panelists. Having said so much, I wish to suggest or recommend that we work closely with teacher trainers to address issues of various unprofessional approaches to dealing with students in general and girls in particular. And it might be necessary for a political decision to advocate for political decision, particularly where it has to do with majority of our students in the arts and humanities. I believe if the students do not have much choice, a lot of them with potentials for STEM opt for the arts and humanities because they think it's an easy way out. But a situation where over 90% of students in the arts and humanities, you wonder what they will do when they come out. And it has this vicious circle of unemployment and other social vices. I think, and then curriculum revision is something we should also advocate for. In areas of STEM or TVET, a lot of the curriculum are obsolete and out of touch with modern realities. I believe I should just quickly mention some of these approaches that will help us in the education system. Thank you.
Can I have your last intervention there? Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
2 minutes, please.
Yeah. From experience as a teacher, I discovered that the problem with TVET in schools is not about guidance counselors, but career teachers telling the students that science is not for them. But I discovered that the guidance counselors are
Excuse me, madam. We have a session dedicated for TVET this afternoon. Can we reserve that to discuss it under the TVET?
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me just make my point. I will.
But you will make it during the TVET.
During TVET?
Yes, we have a TVET session in the afternoon.
All right, okay.
Thank you very much for understanding. we are finished with the inputs from the floor, but there's one single input I will request from the floor after I've given, bear with me, I wanted to give you 5 minutes each, but now it's one. 1, 2, 3 minutes. Please stick to time, I'll time you. For any reactions, observations to enrich your comments, do not get into the stories again. Let's go. Let's start with you now. 1 minute, s'il vous plaît.
Merci. Merci. Juste 3 points. Juste par rapport à l'intervention de monsieur au début, je précise que la bourse que j'ai obtenue vient de l'État, de la volonté régalienne de l'État, et l'intervention du papa a été dans l'acceptation de cette bourse. Donc à l'origine, c'est l'État d'abord. Ensuite, quand on parle de corps enseignant, il ne faudrait pas parler uniquement que des enseignants, mais de tout le système éducatif, toutes les écoles, etc., et repenser le critère d'excellence. Quand une école dit « j'ai 100% de réussite en fin d'année », c'est 100%, c'est quoi? 100% dans le genre, il faut que le genre soit respecté. Quel est le pourcentage de filles et de garçons pour que ça soit ça le critère d'excellence. Ensuite, au niveau du pourcentage des filles, il n'y a rien d'autre que l'État en termes d'école obligatoire et surtout faire appliquer l'école obligatoire avec développement d'infrastructures, cantines, latrines, internats. Ensuite, il y a un point qu'on n'a pas abordé, c'est la valorisation des filières scientifiques. Ça manque. Moi, j'ai demandé à ma fille de ne pas être ingénieure, elle a quand même voulu être ingénieure, parce que ce sont les corps de métier les moins payés dans l'administration, en tout cas en Afrique. Un ingénieur ne gagne pas plus, gagne beaucoup moins qu'un autre corps de métier qui n'a fait qu'une simple licence ou un DUG. Donc, il y a une certaine valorisation du métier même de scientifique, de chercheur, qui est une valorisation aussi financière. Je vous remercie.
On this pressure, they've done a good job, but you have got 1 minute.
Okay, thank you very much. To quickly take into consideration what you all have said, something that, you know, in terms of scientists that are already there, I've mentioned the L'Oreal UNESCO program, we have the Intel UNESCO program. And then to address young people, we work with Women for the 1 million girls in STEM. But I think in terms of data, and to actually know what is out there, we have the engineering report that is coming out, the second engineering report. And something that you said about what careers are out there, and then with lots of people studying social science, do we know what careers they will get after? So the engineering report is going to look at what careers are out there, how many young people are going into careers in STEM and engineering, and then finally what jobs are in each country, how many engineers do we need for whatever. We also have the STEM and gender advancement publication, which looks at reducing stereotype in STEM fields in all countries around the world. So I can give you the link to that. We also have the Explore the Data Worldwide, which is working with the UNESCO Institute of Statistics, and it gives you data of STEM and women in science all around the world. And then talking about grannies and rural areas in Africa, we worked with a project called the Barefoot Project, taking grannies and teaching them about photovoltaics, and then them becoming the engineers in their local communities and teaching their grandchildren about it. But I can explain more to you about this as well during the lunch, so thank you.
You have 1 minute to react to them, then 1 minute to tell us about this pinky head I'm seeing.
Sure, no pressure. So just a quick one to further enhance the recommendations and tell you a little bit more about what we're doing to some of them. The thing came up around, making maths and science more fun in school. For us, I talk about repositioning engineering. So through our Girl Lunch workshops, what we do is, we should stop asking kids, what do they want to do, what do they want to be when they grow up, but rather ask the question, what problem do they want to solve when they grow up? And through our 1 Million Girls in STEM campaign, that's very much tied to who are you as a person, what's your individual values and brands. So part of the workshop we run with the Pink Hard Hat is asking them that question, giving them a set of craft materials and having them transform their hard hats to represent their brands. And the power of that is, all of them go in with the hard hat looking exactly the same, but when they come out, each and every one is unique, it's different, and it shows the contribution they will make into the industry, and really what problem do they want to solve when they grow up. Now, why this is so powerful, and tying to the recommendations, one, again, it the world of engineering has changed. It's no more around things, it's around people, and showing these girls how they can contribute. The second thing, the idea around accessibility came up, and a lot of people spoke around train the trainers. The way I want to enhance this recommendation and tell you what we're doing is, more than train the trainers, we need to design open source toolkits. So for example, the workshop that we run with 1 million girls in STEM, we've developed a whole toolkit around that, which is fully open source. So anybody can take that and run that in their school, their region, their community, and in that way, that's how we will scale and reach 1 million girls, giving them access to STEM and STEM careers. So if you want more information about that, you can talk to me afterwards, but the recommendation there is really around open source toolkits. There was a lot of talk around role modeling, but for me, beyond just the storytelling and us, the role we play as individuals, there's a recommendation. I really think the media has a role to play. So the things we watch on TV, doctors have Grey's Anatomy, and the lawyers have all these cool lawyer programs. What do we as engineers, and especially African engineers, what are these girls watching on TV? Girls and boys alike, in fact. So what is the role of media, and how do we start telling these stories, not just on an individual basis, but on a mass basis? And the last point is really around pipelines. I think the gentleman spoke around there. Let's not just attract these girls into STEM, and then what? So part of what we're doing with Women is it's a bottom-up approach, and at every step of the pipeline, these girls engage with us. So not just attracting them, but university level, increasing their employability, teaching them about innovation and entrepreneurship, the future of engineering, aligning it to the Sustainable Development Goals. Goal number 5 is about gender, but I argue that every goal is attached to STEM professionals, and particularly with women contributing to that in Africa, we'll reach it faster. And then at industry level, we have programs that actually retain these female, giving them access to resources that they thrive. So I think we need to create more pipelines. Hopefully that summarizes it.
Thank you to write down some of the key salient points that you have raised and share them with Dr. Aguso. We are coming to the end of our session, but before we end, I want to challenge ourselves. Each table, I'm giving you 5 minutes to agree on just one item regarding this issue. Write it down, and someone will come and pick up your recommendation as a table that you think with those small groups you are agreeing on what we can do on STEM. This is the last exercise of this session. This table, that table, that table. Let me have your inputs in 5 minutes' time before our lunch. Let's go. Vous avez le, what do you call it? La parole. Right, let's do it. Five minutes, I'm counting. Agree and write a single recommendation that one of our colleagues will come and pick, and then we'll give the moderator to analyze those things and see how they fit into our discussions here. Thank you very much. It can be a summary of what we've agreed here, but agree on one item on the table. 5 minutes, I'm counting. We have 1 minute to go. Only one recommendable action that we need from a table. Can I, Félicité, est-ce que vous pouvez collecter des... One minute to go. Okay, thank you very much. Our time is up. I hope everything has been collected. What we'll do is we'll analyze your recommendations, put those that are the same together, and try to reflect this on our, in our report. Let me take this opportunity to thank the esteemed panelists for the excellent job they've done. And I also want to thank you so much for your contribution. You have been very active. This has been very hot. We had 2 hours. To me, it's like 5 minutes altogether. So thank you very much for your proactive participation. Can you clap your hands for yourselves? Thank you so much. And please clap your hands for the panelists for the good job they've done. Thank you very much. Our session comes to an end. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Our session has come to an end. The next session I'm going to introduce is called lunch. Lunch will be served outside. You go through these doors. You'll meet people who will direct you to lunch. So please, let's go for lunch. Thank you.